Ed Sullivan was known for his calm, almost wooden demeanor as the host of one of the most influential television programs in American history, The Ed Sullivan Show. For over 2 decades, Sullivan introduced audiences to groundbreaking performers, from Elvis Presley to the Beatles. He rarely showed emotion beyond his trademark awkward smile and stiff gestures. But there was one moment when the ever-composed Ed Sullivan truly lost it, a moment that shocked the crew, stunned the live audience, and left a lasting mark on the show's legacy. It happened during a live taping in the early 1960s, a time when the show was at its peak, drawing tens of millions of viewers each Sunday night. Sullivan prided himself on delivering a clean, family-friendly broadcast. Every performer, from rock bands to comedians, was required to submit their material in advance. Scripts were reviewed, song lyrics checked, and any hint of risk content was swiftly edited or rejected. Sullivan had final approval over everything. It was his show, his reputation, and his rules. That night, a young stand-up comedian had been booked as a late addition. He was gaining popularity in New York's club circuit for his edgy, irreverent humor, which leaned into social issues and political satire. Sullivan's producers had vetted the comic's set and insisted that a few lines be toned down. The comic agreed reluctantly and promised to stick to the script. But when the cameras rolled and the crowd laughed louder than expected, something changed. Live on air, the comedian veered off script. He delivered a biting joke aimed at a sitting U.S. senator, followed by a risky punchline about religion. The audience gasped. Some laughed nervously. Others looked around, unsure of what was happening. Backstage, Ed Sullivan was watching on the monitor, eyes widening with disbelief. His tightly controlled show was spiraling out of control in front of a national audience when the comedian finished and walked off stage. Sullivan met him in the wings, not with his usual handshake or quick nod, but with visible fury. For the first time in his television career, Ed Sullivan lost his composure. In front of the crew, he reportedly shouted at the comic, calling him disrespectful and a liar, accusing him of violating the show's trust and embarrassing the production team. Staff members stood frozen. No one had ever seen Ed raise his voice like that, much less explode in such visible anger. The incident didn't end there. After the taping, Sullivan demanded the comedian be cut from the West Coast broadcast, a delay allowed for edits, and he ordered that the performer be permanently blacklisted from the show. True to his word, that comedian never appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show again. Despite going on to have a successful career elsewhere, what made this moment so notable wasn't just the outburst, but the contrast. Ed Sullivan was not a man known for theatrics. His public persona was measured and stiff, sometimes even awkward, but always composed. For him to shout, to physically confront someone backstage, and to override producers in real time was entirely out of character. Later interviews with crew members and insiders confirmed that Sullivan felt betrayed. He saw the show as a platform that launched careers of Beatles, the Supremes, Richard Pryor, and many others owed their national exposure to it. But it was also, in his eyes, a show built on mutual respect. To go off script, especially with material that challenged the era's conservative standards, wasn't just rebellion, it was, to Sullivan, a personal affront. Though the incident never aired in its original form, those who were there remembered it clearly. It became one of the few moments when Ed Sullivan's famously controlled image cracked. He didn't just lose his temper, he lost trust in a system that, till that moment, had worked perfectly. And the years that followed, Sullivan remained professional. But those who knew him said he never forgot that night. It reminded him that, even in the world of scripted entertainment, unpredictability could strike hand for one unforgettable moment. Ed Sullivan couldn't keep the show under control.